Hello, my name is Briggitt Marcovich. Today I'm bringing you another tennis lesson. I will show you how I prepare my players from the beginning of their lesson until the end. Today's main focus will be moving back to handle deep and high balls. My student Mark will demonstrate the exercises for you. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Let's do it. I always start my lessons with a dynamic warm-up. It is important to create a minimum 15 minutes routine to prevent injuries and reinforce athletic skills that will help the player to develop their tennis to a higher level. Today I'm bringing you a series of different and useful exercises that I use at least once a week on my tennis practices. It is important to mention that tossing and catching while doing the activities will give the player a higher level of difficulty and challenge. But with practice, they learn to master different skills and improve their hand-eye coordination. By doing daily repetitions of crossover steps and side shuffle, the player understands and gets used to the different ways of moving on the court. Make sure that the player has a strong base by bending their knees and having their feet a little bit wider than their shoulders. This exercise is fundamental because it teaches the players how to recover after every shot. High heels help the player with agility, balance and coordination. It is important to maintain a good form by keeping their shoulders played together and the heels up without losing control of their body. Skipping is necessary to build the biomechanics for athletes to learn how to run from a young age. The coach should reinforce this motion by forcing the player to use opposite foot and opposite hand while doing this exercise. Backwards step over is part of our routine, and it is the last dynamic exercise I will be showing you before we start our mini tennis warm-up. This activity will improve the flexibility and balance of the player, working the muscles around the hip. Texas Mini Tennis is a great and fun game that I implement in my daily practices for players to develop and reinforce their sense of touch. The players also learn how to defend with the slice when it's necessary during a match. Now it's time for our mini tennis warm-up routine. Every day for every practice, I use the same format for our first 20 or 30 minutes of the lesson. I strongly believe that to play in a high competitive level of tennis, it is important that players are comfortable and have control of their body, ball and racket from the service line to service line in order to feel the ball before increasing power. For me, control starts with the way players start their tennis session. My focus in those first 20 or 30 minutes is not about power, but on anything related to their needs, whether it be technical, physical or mental. By rallying in small spaces while practicing forehands crosscourt, forehands inside out, backhands crosscourt, and backhands slices crosscourt, players will also be working on hitting the outside of the ball and learning how to create angles with different strokes that later on will be applied in an important point of the match. Even though our main focus of today's practice doesn't have anything to do with coming to the net and being aggressive, I still consider it is necessary to implement reflex volleys, volleys to ground strokes and overheads in our warm-up routine. Remember that all of these drills take relatively short time. Usually I have them rally 21 shots in a row, which does not take more than 2 or 3 minutes. Then we move back to the baseline to rally forehands crosscourt and work on increasing the speed of the racket, height of the ball and touch speed. At the same time, players also work on recovering and using more variations of footwork. I repeat the same drill but working from the outside of the court. In Mark's case, his backhand side. And this is how I use the first 40 to 45 minutes of the lesson, including the athletic warm-up. By doing this, the player will feel more ready and prepared to learn or reinforce a skill. Now that we have completed the warm-up, I will show you our drill of today's class. I like to start this part of the practice with shadowing. It is important to start with a ready position, a strong base, and feet apart. To be able to move back effectively, You will start with a drop step, which is a step out and back with the outside foot. This should be done at the same time as your fundamental unit turn. Follow it by a crossover step. Then walk, jog or run to the ball, depending on the speed of the ball. Balance on the outside foot and swing, and recover back to the middle. After we master the shadowing, Mark will be more prepared to recognize the right moment to move back. To challenge the player's mobility, we will progress with the X trio. I will move Mark back and forth towards two different directions, giving the player the opportunity to learn how to defend and also get into a position to attack and be more aggressive. Another way of working this drill is hand-feeding one deep ball and one short ball towards the forehand side, followed by one deep and one short ball towards the backhand side. Now that we have completed our drills, we will work on no more than 5 minutes on the serves. I look for balance, spin, racket speed, and the proper biomechanical movement according to the age and level of the player. We have completed the majority of our practice today. For the last 20 or 30 minutes of our practice, we will play points focusing on moving the player back with deep and high balls using the drop step and crossover step. This is a great way for players to work on specific situations of the game while having fun competing. At the same time, it gives them the opportunity to execute other strokes and apply other tools when it's necessary. We have reached the end of our lesson today. I hope you got some tips that will help your game. As always, thank you for watching. Don't forget to share and like this video. Thank you, Mark, for participating, and have a great match.